We built a $100,000 per month SaaS app in 60 days with one marketing strategy. So today I'm going to show you how we did everything step by step. So hopefully you can do the same. In this video, I'm going to show you how we got the idea, how we validated the idea, how we built the MVP, how we got our first users, how we actually launched publicly, how we actually marketed the product, and all the lessons and failures we learned along the way. So strap in, let's get into it. So the app we decided to make was Content Rewards. If you're not familiar, Content Rewards is a WAP app where basically creators can put up a budget for $10,000 and then they can pay clippers $1 per 1,000 views for posting their content on social media. So if I put one of my podcasts on YouTube, I make a content reward for $10,000. I say, I'll pay you $1 for every 1,000 views you get if you repost clips from my podcast, automatically tracks all the views, automatically pay out the clipper solely for the views they were generating. So if they got 10,000 views, they made $10. So this really automated the clipping process. So how did we even get the idea? Well, one day I was scrolling Twitter and I noticed about every 4 or 5 scrolls, I would see a steak logo at the bottom of a video. And I would notice that this video had tens of millions of views on Twitter. So it seemed like no matter where I went on social media, I couldn't get away from steak casinos. I had never used Steak Casino. I was not engaging with any gambling content. And so I was very confused why this kept popping up on my feed. And not only that, I was just genuinely impressed with the sheer amount of volume of videos that I was seeing with this logo, and mainly because they were all coming from different accounts. So as a marketer, that really stuck out to me. How could they possibly be getting this many videos that are getting this many views from this many accounts? And so I dug into it, I asked a few of my friends, and it turns out they were doing this through a Discord server. And inside of that Discord server, they were paying people 5 cents for every 1,000 views they got on videos that included the steak logo. That is when the idea hit me. If you pay people based off the number of views they generate, they are incentivized to post over and over again. A standard problem in the influencer marketing world is I have to negotiate with an influencer, I have to sign a contract, I have to pay them a flat fee up front with no guarantee of performance. If I pay them $5,000 and their video flops, I'm out of luck, I have no conversion, and I lose money. And so seeing that this was just a good way to incentivize people to post content online, I got very excited about that. And I thought that this was a really good opportunity to productize this. I also was very aware that this clipping concept was very popular in social media. Andrew Tate really popularized this, where he had people make hundreds of sub accounts and then he'd give them affiliate links if they reposted his content. Then also big streamers like Neon and Aiden Ross had very publicly talked about how they were paying clippers hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to post their content online. So now that we have an idea and it feels like a good idea based off the fundamentals of the business, how do we validate the idea? Well, for software, typically these subscription-based businesses, what you would do is you create a landing page, you have a pre-launch where you give people maybe lifetime access or a discount if they join the waitlist and actually pay for the subscription. That way you can make a landing page explaining what it is, see if it's valuable enough for people to actually pay you. They would do that, they would pay you, that actually funds your development. You spend a few months building it and then you release the tool. Those people got a discount, you got proof that people actually wanted this thing. Well, we couldn't do that because this was a revenue share model. We noticed that Steak was doing it, and so I decided to do a little more research. I started asking around, I talked to a few friends, and I actually got on a call with Chucky from Mr. Beast's team, and he was telling me about how he was working with this clipping agency through Discord. He showed me the community, I did some research, and I noticed this community was processing millions of dollars every single month, managing clipping campaigns for some of the most famous people in the world, and they were doing it on a pay-per-view model. And so exactly what Steak was doing, this company was doing. And when I got into that community, I realized how clunky it was. They were using a Discord bot to verify and track views. Payouts would only happen every 30 days, and if they did, it happened in crypto only. And so this was happening in the underworld of Discord. And the interesting thing was I found a few other communities and they were all using the same Discord bot. And I ended up finding who actually made the Discord bot. It was a development team that was charging $5,000 to install the bot into those Discord communities. So there was a handful of Discord communities that were offering clipping services to some of the biggest brands in the world. And then they would just have a group of 500 to 600 clippers who would then clip the content and post. I was seeing it happening in these Discord servers, but it was really clunky. It wasn't structured. And so that shows us there's clear demand. Clearly people want this, and I bet there's a better way to do it. If we could just come in and build trust, have a more seamless tracking system that's more transparent for the clippers, and actually guarantee payouts within, minutes and not months, we would actually have a much better product this can be much more scalable. And so that's how we validated the idea. We actually saw that it was happening in Discord servers, and we thought that, we could actually structure this much better to deliver value more seamlessly and make it a more trustworthy market. And then we realized there was real money in this. These clipping agencies were processing millions of dollars a month. And we found out that they were actually just charging 10, 20, 30% of the spend. So if a company gave them $100,000 and they spent it all, they would get 30% of that, or $30,000. And so this became a very lucrative business model that really no one was aware of. This meant that we could easily charge a revenue share. If we could get people more views for less dollars, they would happily give us 10% of what they spent. So if people spent $100,000, we would make $10,000. And this is really important because the more you make from each customer, that means the more you can spend to acquire new customers. If we were making a $10 per month consumer app, it'd be very, very hard to scale with paid ads or influencer marketing because we could literally only pay $10 in advertising. Where here, we could spend a lot more. So that really gave us the validation needed to feel confident in building the MVP. All right, so now let's talk about actually building the MVP, because this is where things get really interesting and fun. I had this idea for content rewards, this clipping concept, for a long time now. And I actually decided to join WAP because of this idea, mainly for two reasons. One, for this concept to work, you need a community platform. And so I used to have a development agency, and we could build pretty much any software tool. But for this to really work, people are doing this in Discord servers. You need to be able to chat to the clippers. You need to be able to give them content so they know what type of content to make. You need to be able to coach them. And so a community platform is really important. Simultaneously, I was gonna need tens of thousands of creators to actually make this work. I was gonna have to get creators and clippers, which was pretty hard. And so that's when I had the idea that this should be a WAP app. I could just make the app, list it on the WAP app store, and then creators on WAP could just install my app into their community. This would essentially do all of the distribution for me because I would just need one creator to install the app and then they would promote it to their audience. It made a lot more sense to just team up with them, lead their marketing, and help lead the idea of this app getting built. So yes, this app was built internally at WAP, but WAP has a public developer API. You could literally build an app and get it listed on the WAP App Store right now. I just really believed in the vision of the company and had the opportunity to join while building my app. And so I showed them this validation. I showed them what was happening inside of this Discord community. I eventually got the green light from Steven. He assigned me a single developer internally, and we started building the MVP, which is called the Bounties app. This was the MVP before we got to content rewards. And so the Bounties app was very simple. It was just an app that lets you pay people to complete a set task. And so you would just write out a few sentences on what task you wanted people to accomplish, and you would set the amount you'd pay them. And if they did the task, you would hit approve and the money would get sent. And so it was a really hacked together app that we built in like 3 days, because all you needed to do was input a text field, a dollar amount, and then let people submit their submission, which is also just a text field. And so basically we would say, I'll pay you $1 per every 1,000 views you get reposting my content. We would make that bounty go live. People would then clip the content, post their link as a submission, and then we would have to click on it manually, see how many views they'd got, and then input 187,000 views, input $187, hit approve. And it was working relatively well for us. We tried it out for a few of our accounts. It was working. It was a good process. It wasn't perfect, but it got the job done. So before building the full-blown content rewards with view tracking, anti-bot, submission analyzing, APIs connecting to all the different social media platforms, we had a simple Bounties MVP, and it actually worked very well. So once we had the MVP built, it was time to actually get our first users. If you know anything about marketing or building a SaaS, it's hard to market something without proof that other people are actually using it. And so the first 2 weeks are absolutely crucial, but they're an absolute grind. For me to be able to get this app built internally at WAP, I needed to show Steven that this was going to work, and then there was actually people that wanted to do this. And so to do that, I had to really lean on direct outreach in my network. I started reaching out to everyone I knew, asking if anybody wanted clipping services. So we actually kind of spun up this little agency. We partnered with another creator on social media. Eddie Cumberbatch was his name. He was doing something like this on social media already. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, we have this idea. I think it'll help you with what you're doing. Would you like trying it out? He said yes. I started reaching out to other creators in my network and other friends to see if anybody wanted help clipping. I was asking every single person I knew, reaching out to friends of a friends of a friends to see if they could connect me to any well-known people that would let me try this out. Long story short, over 3 weeks, and thanks to a lot of other people's help, not just me alone, we had some pretty big names willing to try this out with the Bounties app, and then we actually managed the entire campaign for them. And so we were doing this completely for free. We just wanted to see if the concept would actually work. And sure enough, it worked amazingly. So within the first 2 to 3 weeks of us just testing that, we had people like TJR who spent over $50,000 testing it out. We had Brez Scales, we had Sketch as a big streamer, and we got a few really big music artists that I can no longer mention, but we had a few really big music artists try it out with us. Eddie managed the entire campaign. We used the basic Bounties app to get proof, and it turns out that a lot of people really liked this. A lot of clippers were getting paid, a lot of clippers were getting a lot of views, and the people that were promoting this were very happy with the amount of exposure they were getting for the cost. So now that we had a few case studies of some reputable people trying it out, we were running it for them and actually getting them real results, talking to them, they were happy, the clippers were happy because they were making money. I showed this to Steven and he gave me the green light to actually build out the real product in which me and my partner Dylan had envisioned. So we started working on the actual content rewards app. This was a much more polished version of the app. This new app was going to include connecting the APIs to all social media accounts so we could track views live in real time. All of the submissions would pop up immediately and you would just hit approve or deny. And if you approved it, the payment automatically got sent out to the clipper. So this way we could actually, create a campaign very clearly. This is how much I'm going to pay you. This is my budget. I'm going to deposit the funds. Then the clippers could connect their account, upload their submissions, views would get tracked in real time, and payout would happen automatically. And so we got that built in 2 weeks. Me and my partner Dylan were really helping with the design of this by using V0. And then eventually, while they were developing, we started working on a launch strategy. As a marketer, I really like doing product launches where you put as much attention on something as you can in a single day, in a single moment. How I view it is you need to get the biggest ball you can, drop it in the ocean to have the biggest ripple effect and get as many people talking about something on the same day. Because if everybody sees it, they all start talking about it, and that's how you start getting momentum. And so we'd gotten a few case studies, we'd done the work we needed in the underground world to prove the concept. Now we're gonna make a really polished product, and then we're gonna have a huge launch of it so everyone in the world knows about it. And so that's exactly what we did. These launches are a big deal. There's a lot on the line, and if you launch something and it flops, it really destroys your entire morale to keep going. And so to me, everything was on the line. I've been hyping this up for the last month and a half inside the company. I knew that it was working, but you just never know how the public is going to receive these things. So we worked on a really good product launch video. I'll actually play that right now.
Artists use it to blow up their albums, streamers use it to blow up their streams, and brands use it to grow their sales. And it's exactly how you're going to blow up online. Welcome to Content Rewards. Here's how it works. Creators upload their viral videos to our platform and set the reward rate. Clippers then download that content, add their own creative spin, and post the clips on their social channel. Once posted, the Clippers link their video back into our platform. Our software tracks every view in real time, automatically paying the Clippers for the attention they generate. No contracts, no negotiations, no upfront costs.
Wait, what?
You only pay for real views at a fraction of what ad platforms charge. And Clippers earn instantly for every view they drive. This isn't just marketing, it's the future of how Clippers and creators work together.
This is sick.
So this product launch video was like the core to the launch. We made a really polished video, and then we had a really thorough launch plan. I'll actually just give you guys the launch plan. If you want to actually see the launch plan, click the link below. It's very simple, but you're really trying to figure out all the different pieces of content that you could possibly make, just to really highlight some of the most important parts. We partnered with a few short form creators. We paid short form creators to make videos on it that would go out on the same day. I made a YouTube video that would go out on the same day. We had a big product announcement video that would go on all of our main socials, and then we were ready to run ads on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook of the actual launch video. And so that way we could get as many people talking about it as possible. We sent emails out to our creators. We basically paid as many people as we could to talk about this on the same day, all at once. And so I have that launch doc if you want to see like each deliverable granular level, but it's basically just how many pieces of content can you make? How much surface area can you cover? How many people can you get to talk about this one thing on one single day? So when we launched, it went mega viral. It was received unbelievably well, better than I could have ever actually even imagined. And we were getting inbound from the biggest record labels in the world who manage the most famous artists you could possibly imagine. Some of the biggest streamers in the world joined the platform. All of the info people wanted in on it. And it was quite literally one of the most overwhelming periods of my life. Like, I'm very grateful for that. Way better than I could possibly imagine. God had my back on that one. I'll never forget that day. But as we went on, it got crazier and crazier. We had a really good momentum. Everyone was loving it. We had so much inbound going on, but we had so many creators and we didn't have enough clippers to actually fulfill. And so we had to actually start marketing the product to get more clippers. And this was probably the only marketing strategy any software app needs, but it's what we went on and it's what we doubled down on. So if you watch my podcast, you know I've had people like Zach Yadagari from Kali. I've had Alex Slater from Quitter. I just had Roy Lee on the podcast. And every single one of these people, these young kids, have scaled their SaaS apps to millions a month just by one strategy, and that is mass short form UGC. So this is something that Oliver Picado had talked about in my podcast 2 years ago. And it's something that I had known had been so powerful. And I was very excited to start using the tool that we made to do short form UGC. And so our only marketing strategy was using the product we just created. We did mass short form UGC. We pay UGC creators $3 for every 1,000 views they got if they were talking about content rewards on WAP. And it went completely viral. We were getting tens of millions of views a week. I think the maxed out at 22 million views in a single week from UGC creators making content about WAP. This was all managed by one person on our team, Dylan Lundgren. Shout out to Dylan. He got us 10,914 videos posted, 72 million views on short form, and over 700,000 people to join the platform. This was literally as viral as you could possibly go, and we were doing it all with the product that we were promoting. So it's kind of like literal proof that this thing worked because we were using it so heavily. Now, if you want to see exactly how we executed that short form campaign and see real examples of videos that were made, how we recruit creators, and how we manage hundreds of them, I actually have a free video that is 30 minutes long. It shows you exactly step by step how we did it, and I give you a behind the scenes look. So if you want that, click the first link in the description. This is really the only strategy you need to scale an app to 7 figures ARR. It won't work forever, so go watch that. But content rewards blew up. Even if you go to content rewards now on WAP, there's still some of the most famous artists, streamers, some of the most famous podcast creators, all using content rewards to amplify their views on social media. So this was a very surreal time. Literally 2 months ago, this was just an idea in my mind, to 60 to 90 days later, processing millions of dollars and the most famous people in the world using it. We even had a video of Kanye West and his producer talking about it in a video where they were joking about how they were so viral, they don't even need to use WAP. And so the fact that every person, the most famous people in the world, have now known about what we created, which is a really cool moment. But with that being said, so much growth so quickly leads to a lot of problems. And so it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. It was a very good high, but soon reality set in. We have tens of thousands of creators who have installed this WAP app into their WAP. So since we had a good distribution system, we had massive scale. We just made this a WAP app, and now anybody could just create a WAP and install it and use that. And since we had a revenue share model, money was coming in very quickly. But because of that, there was thousands of campaigns live and tens of thousands of clippers. But within that, there was a small set of people who started botting views. We had an anti-bot algorithm built in, but anytime we tried to change it, they would always find a different way to get around it. And it wasn't a lot of people, but if you are someone who's running a $10,000 campaign and someone bots it for $7,000, it's a very painful process and people get very upset on social media, and it's vice versa. There were so many clippers that if you were running a campaign, there'd be 30,000 submissions, 30,000 clips you have to go through and approve. And so some creators couldn't have the capacity to approve every single clip. And so clippers would then get mad that they're not getting approved, and they felt like they were getting scammed out of their hard work. And so the long story short is that some creators were getting their stuff botted, and a lot of clippers weren't getting their clips approved. And so even though these were small pockets of the overall users, they were loud on social media, and that causes a lot of pain. So with that, we realized that this is basically an entire business within the business at WAP. And so we had to really come to the conclusion that WAP apps need to be built by people who are going to treat them like it's their full-time business. So we were actually in talks with a team to kind of work with them and have them manage it for us and continue to develop the product with their full focus. Because at the end of the day, WAP as a company, we're just here for developers and entrepreneurs like you to build these apps, run them as your business, and make a shit ton of money, while also building a community platform for creators to install their apps and also make a lot of money. So at WAP, it's our responsibility to help you make more money, not to be building and running all these different businesses in one. And so we've been so focused on building out the WAP Developer API so anyone can do what I just mentioned. Anyone right now can build a WAP app using the API. You can just build an app, developers build an app that creators can then install and sell to their users. You can do a revenue share model, you can charge per seat. So if you want to charge a creator $1 for every member they have in their community, you can let them install it for free, but then charge their users a subscription for an affiliate cut, or you can even charge a $5,000 install into the app. Whatever you want as a developer, you can build a WAP app that instantly gets installed by hundreds of creators that they just then sell into their community. And so WAP apps in and of themselves, the reason we were able to scale this from 0 to 100K per month profit in less than 60 days was because it was a WAP app. We got so much distribution so quickly. It was just in this ecosystem where tens of thousands of creators already exist. Creators have huge audiences, like Drewski. Drewski literally posted on his Instagram story to join his WAP content reward so that you could clip his content and get paid. He sent like 40,000 people of his audience into his WAP, and all of them were using content rewards, and we took 10% of that. And so it's a really cool concept that I really hope a lot of you see as an opportunity. We're very early into this. WAP is basically the place where you can sell course and community and software all in the same place. So as a creator, it just adds so much more value to your community. And as a developer, you're getting the biggest distribution hack that has never been possible before. So that is basically the story of how we scaled a $100,000 per month WAP app in 60 days with one marketing strategy. So I hope you found value in that. We actually run a community called Growth Hackers, where if you are an app founder and you're building an app and you want to learn all these different growth tactics, we're in there. Me and my partner, Dylan Lundgren, are in there teaching you exactly what we're doing to build companies like WAP, to build content rewards, and what other app founders that have scaled their apps to 7 figures in ARR are doing. So if you want to join a community of other app founders and learn the best tactics that we're all using right now, click the link in the description below to join the Growth Hacker community. Other than that, I'll see you